Fantastic performance from Mustafa Ali. Once again, we really thank him for his time.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes I go into a trance when it comes to his recitations because he's so particular when it comes to what we call the maqamat, and that's the specific tones of the recitation of the Quran. Mustafa, thank you so much for your time. This part of the show is really taking a deep dive into the supplications and the du'as that are associated with the school of the Ahlul Bayt, specifically when it comes to Muharram and Safar, the occasion of Ashura, the occasion of Arba'in. So what we've done throughout this series is to really take a deep dive into some of the supplications or the du'as that are associated with Ashura and Arba'in, discussing a bit about the story behind them, discussing the characters behind them, and also understanding, why are certain du'as and supplications chosen during this month. To discuss that from now until the end of the series, we have Ibrahim Al-Ansari. Ibrahim, salam alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
It's a great pleasure to have you on the show with us.
It's my pleasure, honestly.
Thank you so much for joining us. So to go into the dua, you've chosen, so we're beginning Muharram, it's the beginning of our new year. And it's interesting you selected a particular dua that talks about the generics of welcoming a new year into, so obviously we have the Muharram where we're commemorating, but also it's the beginning of a year. And we're asking Allah to give us protection from shaitan. And it's a beautiful dua. So is there particularly a reason there why you selected this one?
So of course when we open our dua books, so usually I think this is a very beautiful thing about our school of thought, which is that for everything that we do, we find the dua, we find the supplication. Literally the smallest of things that we do in our daily lives, entering your house, there's a dua. Leaving your house, there's a dua. Going on a journey, there's a dua. Everything that we can do, there's a dua. And a very beautiful thing is that we've got dua books in which the imams, in which someone has collected the du'as that were given to us by the imams. This specific dua, if we actually open Mafatih al-Jinan and we look at, for example, the a'mal of the month of Muharram, we find that this is recommended to be recited at the very start of the month.
Sure.
Who recommended it specifically? Was it one of the prophets or the imams?
This is by one of the imams.
Oh, one of the imams, okay.
So would you like to commence your reciting?
Sure, inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم أنت الإله القديم وهذه سنة جديدة فأسألك فيها العصمة من الشيطان والقوة على هذه النفس الأمارة بالسوء والاشتغال بما يقربني إليك يا كريم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا عماد من لا عماد له يا ذخيرة من لا ذخيرة له يا حرز من لا حرز له يا غياث من لا غياث له يا سند من لا سند له يا كنز من لا كنز له يا حسن البلاء يا عظيم الرجاء يا عز الضعفاء يا منقذ الغرقى يا منجي الهلكى يا منعم يا مجمل يا مفضل يا محسن أنت الذي سجد لك سواد الليل ونور النهار وضوء القمر وشعاع الشمس ودوي الماء وحفيف الشجر يا الله لا شريك لك اللهم اجعلنا خيرا مما يظنون واغفر لنا ما لا يعملون ولا تؤاخذنا بما يقولون حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم آمنا به كل من عند ربنا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على
محمد وآل محمد.
أحسنت
Beautiful.
Haj
Thank you so
Ibrahim,
much.
it's really nice. What's the name of this extract? Which dua was it from?
This is specifically the dua of the month, of the beginning of the month of Muharram, so the beginning of the year.
So it's not taken from another dua.
No,
I think this is the actual full
dua.
Beautiful.
So the reason I brought this fully, and I know we've got a very short time,
Yeah.
but I thought it was a very short dua, and if we look at it throughout it all, I think it's very hard to choose a specific extract from it.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. It talks about how, like you said, we ask for protection. It talks about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his attributes, that's a very important one as well.
Yeah.
It goes through a lot of his attributes, and it goes through a lot of his powers, and how he's actually with us. Ya ghiyatha man la ghiyatha lahu. And how he supports us, and how he's there for those who have no one there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually, as Zahra was mentioning, it's very interesting because a lot of people in a lot of different cultures and religions, the beginning of their year is often associated with celebrations and parties or whatever it may be. But the beginning, but what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to really show to us, that Imam Hussein alayhi salam and the importance of Muharram, we want to actually seek nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before we enter the new month. And what better way, I guess, in terms of, it's actually very interesting because a lot of people's emotions are heightened when it comes to Muharram. Their nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Imam Hussein alayhi salam is heightened during Ashura, right?
Definitely.
So it's the coincidence or the miracle of it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to tell you in this dua that seek nearness to Allah through the month of Muharram, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, which is the pinnacle of emotions that people have.
I think it's very interesting how, in fact, that Muharram was, in fact, the killing of Imam Hussein and his martyrdom to be done at the start of the year. And like you mentioned very beautifully, it's our spirituality, it automatically goes up during Muharram. And then to have that as, I think it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us a boost for the next year.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He is telling us, you know what, instead of starting here, I'm going to make you start right here.
Yeah.
And you go, you do the run. Literally, it's like giving someone a start in which they are so ready for the next year in closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
But even when you look at the interpretation, I don't know if you want to quickly go through sort of what you've read for the sake of people who don't understand Arabic. But it's actually talking about one of the things, exactly what you both are saying, that Allah calls not our hearts to stray, and I'm going right to the end, but it's quite, it's relevant to what you've just said, that cause not our hearts to stray after thou hast guided us and bestow upon us mercy from thy presence. And you think the guidance comes certainly from the school of Ahl Bayt through Ahl Bayt, doesn't it, to reach to Allah. So we are in the beginning of the year going through the sort of the teachings of Ahl Bayt, through their actions, through their sacrifice, and we are remembering Allah at the same time. So if you want to just quickly go through, if you'd like to.
Yeah, so of course you start off by calling out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being the eternal God, and then you tell him, this is the beginning of another year, and I request you in this hour to keep shaitan away from me and to give me control over myself. And this nafs is very specific. So the nafs that we're talking about is not just what I do. No, it's the inside of you, and that waswas that you get as well, that is inside in your nafs. So that is inclined to sin and deviation, so that it brings me near to you. We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring us closer to Him in this upcoming year. O compassionate, O the owner of majesty and kindness, O supporter of him who has no supporter, O provider of him who has no provision, O he who watches over him, O who has no protection, O he who comes to help, O he who comes to help with, O he who comes to help him who has no hope of help, O reliance for him who has no one to lean upon. O treasure of him who has nothing in the purse. O he who knows well how to put to test and trial. O the ultimate hope, and this is important, ultimate hope. A lot of us throughout the year, we like, do you know what? I feel down. Something specific happens throughout the year, but if we're remembering at the start of every year that the ultimate hope is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing can bring us down.
And I just going back over this passage, and I don't know if, Brother Ali, you have, your sort of, but I just feel like that applies to every single creation. That even if we have support mechanisms, it doesn't matter who is in our life, at the end we are alone and we are all beggars and we are not self-sufficient. So this is a reminder. I mean, there are some people that are very lonely in this world, and of course Allah is the closest to them, but we are all in that position, aren't we?
Definitely. It's when we come, the thing is, the relationship between the created and the creator is very specific. There is no difference between myself and yourself. There's no difference between us and others. We see in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he mentions this very beautifully in the Quran as well, in Surah Al-Hujurat, I believe it is. When it says, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُم مِّن ذَكَرٍ وَأُنثَى وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. We have created you from male and female, and we have created you into nations and tribes for you to come to know one another. إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. The one closest to Allah. The one closest to Allah is the one who's most pious, the one who's most God conscious. And that is literally what differentiates one servant from the other. But other than that, we are all equal. No matter how much wealth we have, no matter what we are doing as a day-to-day job.
What race we are, I mean, saying
what
that
race
different tribes we are.
And that's a very beautiful thing about Islam as well. So definitely, we are all in that same position. And the thing is, with this specific dua, one aim of it is to increase in our piety. Because piety is the only thing, literally the only thing that gets us close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Imams, and we're remembering Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam, what made them so great? Their piety. Their piety, with no doubt. Every single one of the Imams, and you see even with the Prophets, what made their ranking different? Because we all know the Prophets are not all equal, there's different rankings. The only difference is piety.
Fascinating discussion. I wanted to actually find out, because I was reading this dua and I wanted to link it back to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because in terms of preparing for the month, a lot of people have different ways to do so. So some people would, for example, the reciters would prepare their poems in order to recite, the poets would write their poems. The different people within the programs, they'd start, for example, putting up the black, or preparing the pulpits. The speakers will go through their notes. People would even start wearing preparing their black clothes for the month. Why is it important to rely on dua to prepare ourselves for the month?
I think the first thing we need to do is actually look at what dua is. So dua, a prayer, and through dua, literally the only reason dua was that firstly dua is ibadah, as we all know. So number one, it's an act of ibadah, act of worship. Number two, it is direct conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, when I have a conversation with you, I automatically become closer to you. The more we speak, the closer we get. So it's very similar with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The more we supplicate towards Him, the more we talk directly to Him, the closer we get. And I remember sitting with a sheikh not too long ago, and he mentioned something, it's relevant right now as well. We were talking about Imam Mahdi and our relationship with him. And actually this is what he said. He said, if every time we sit down after Salat al-Fajr and we talk directly to the Imam, we become closer to Imam Mahdi Ajala Ta'ala Farjahu Sharif. So literally there's always, whenever there is direct conversation, we become closer. So one way in which we can prepare ourselves to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is by talking to Him directly.
Brilliant. Well, we could talk so much more about.
There is so much to cover. Inshallah, probably in the future mornings we have together. Inshallah, God gives us
tawfiq. Is time finished now?
Yes, we are at the end of the morning. There, like you said, there is so much to go through.
There is. I've actually got another 5 more questions just based on what you've said to ask you. But we're here with you for the next couple of episodes, so definitely much more to look forward to, especially for our viewers as well.
Hope they've benefited certainly from the dua. It's a beautiful dua. We didn't actually get through the whole translation, but perhaps people would like to refer to. You said Ms. Mafatih al-Janan.
Mafatih al-Janan, or if they just type in on the internet the dua for the start of Muharram, will come up.
And it'll also be available on our website. But just quickly, what's the best time? Do you think the night before to recite this, after Fajr? When would be the best time?
This is, of course, after Fajr, you're entering the month.
Yes.
However, throughout that whole day of the first day,
Recite.
it is just, that's dua, that's the beauty of dua,
Absolutely.
just recite.
It really recenters you. And
And it's a
puts
short
you-
one as well, it didn't take too
Yeah.
long to recite as well.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so Ibrahim, really appreciate your time. On the next part of the show, we're going to be seeing some footage from an annual ceremony to open up the proceedings of Muharram and to really signify the start of the new year and start of the new month and the start of Ashura, and that's as ever and as we're all accustomed to from the holy land of Karbala on the dome of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and it's the ceremony of the changing of the flags.